You're happy to be here. Hey, Randy, corralled all this together.
Michael Sargent.
Good to see you, buddy. How you doing?
Good deal.
Not like loud.
Well, we did for
Yeah, well, I mean, it's smart. You might not loud.
Okay. All right, good afternoon. Look, we're all friends here. Thank you for taking the time to be here with us today. Train always, we wanted to leave on time, so we're going to start on time. I'm Jennifer DeBruhl. I'm the Director of the Virginia Department of Rail and Public Transportation and also the Chair of the Virginia Passenger Rail Authority Board. We have a great program of speakers. It's an exciting day here in Virginia. So before I give you a few introductory comments, I want to introduce the panel that we have here this afternoon. I'm going to start with Virginia Secretary of Transportation, Shep Miller. He was appointed to that role in January of 2022. Native of Hampton Roads, very proud native of Hampton Roads. In addition to his role in the governor's cabinet, he's been a member of the Commonwealth Transportation Board in this term since 2018, and before that we had the opportunity to work together in another administration as well. We're also joined by Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger. She represents the localities where 2 of our rail crossings are located. We are in her district right now. Our agency and the Commonwealth are very grateful for all the support that she has provided to this project, and we look forward to continuing to work together to improve rail services here in her district. We are also very fortunate to be joined by Undersecretary of Transportation for Policy, Carlos Monje.
Yeah.
Get it? Okay. Doing good. He has been in his role since 2021, and prior to that, he served as acting Undersecretary and Assistant Secretary for Transportation Policy at USDOT. I want to thank him, the Federal Railroad Administration, and the USDOT. I have to say, it is always great news to find out that we've been awarded a grant, because we asked for a lot. And the benefit that these improvements will have here in our communities in Virginia and beyond is very clear. As I started out with, I'm excited to be here with you all today to celebrate this new funding for the Rural Crossing Safety Improvement Project. This particular project's been in the works since 2018 when we first included it in our statewide rail plan. I'm so proud of the work that has gone into getting us here today. The project would not exist without the support of USDOT and the Federal Railroad Administration, or the support of the counties, Spotsylvania and Hanover, where the crossings are located. Thank you all for being wonderful partners in this project. Our collaboration to get here today is a testament to the amazing commitment to rail safety and better transportation here in Virginia. We have two members, I'm going to get it right, we've got a couple members of the Spotsylvania County Board of Supervisors. We've got Supervisor Frazier, Supervisor Marshall. Appreciate your partnership, CSX. We've got Randy Marcus here with us today. We have our partners from VDOT who will be helping us construct these projects. Just very fortunate that we've got a great team to partner with and work with. I would be very remiss if I did not recognize my wonderful DRPT team here today for their work on the project. We've got a couple of them that were integrally involved in the application. That's Randy Selleck and Taylor Bolden here with us today. They're quietly sitting back in the corner saying, please don't talk about it. The rail crossings we're here to highlight are owned by CSX and the Virginia Passenger Rail Authority. This project is part of our DC to RVA program, which the Virginia Passenger Rail Authority is primarily taking the lead in implementing as part of transforming rail in Virginia. So we're really excited as that program gets built out, we have the opportunity to improve our rail crossings along the way. Because those crossing improvements are critical to the success and to the safety of that program moving forward. So through this federal funding and the state and local commitments, we're going to have 4 quadrant gates installed at each of the crossings to ensure safer access. Not only are these improvements crucial to creating the sealed corridor required for high-speed rail, but they also lower the risk of pedestrian and car incidents. Daily car and train traffic at all 4 crossings continues to grow. And I can tell you, we've been here for about a half an hour. We've seen 3 freight trains go through, a commuter rail train, and an Amtrak train. And that was just in the last few minutes. So very, very busy corridor. And safety is a big priority for us. The project is a big step for us from a rural safety perspective, for higher standards for our rail crossing improvements, enhanced service, reducing congestion in the I-95 corridor, higher speed rail, and more VRE and Amtrak service. So today is a big milestone for us as we work to improve Virginia Rail, and I am just looking forward to hearing from the rest of the speakers on our panel. So thank you. So it is now my honor to introduce our first speaker, who happens to be my boss. There is no one quite like Virginia's Secretary of Transportation, Sheppard. We have worked together for many years on the Commonwealth Transportation Board before 2022, which has created a great foundation for our partnership to work together. He's been incredibly supportive to me as an agency head. He is very supportive of our agency, our projects, our grant applications, and we greatly appreciate that. So welcome to the podium, Secretary Miller.
Thank you, Director. For those of you who don't know her very well, when she said there's no one quite like me, she didn't go into really much detail on that, but I'm sure that privately she'll be happy to let you know, and I'm sure you're excited to hear from me.
I am very excited to hear.
She's outstanding. What a pleasure to be here in Spotsylvania County with our friends from the federal, state, and local governments all joining together, and at the end of the day, that's what gets it done and what it's all about. I'd like to start by congratulating Jen and the DRPT team, and by thanking Undersecretary Monje of USDOT and FRA for their continued commitment to Virginia's rail network. And let me say this, we were talking the other day, we were talking about metrics and how we look at success. And you know, we took the position in Virginia in this administration that we would help anybody in Virginia with any IIJA. Didn't matter what it was, whatever they're submitting for, we're all in, right? And some people say, how you doing? I said, well, we've submitted like a gazillion of this and that. And the answer is that really doesn't matter. How many did you get, right? So you win the prize, all right? It doesn't matter how many you put in, it's how many you get. So great work, we really appreciate it. I'd also like to thank Representative Spanberger for her support of our ongoing efforts to transfer rail in Virginia both today and in the future, and for everything else that you do for your constituents and for Virginia. Really appreciate it. Anybody that will sacrifice running for office and do that at any level deserves thanks in a big way, because it's tough to do. Strong partnerships between the public and the private sector enable the safe and efficient movement of people and goods along one of the most congested corridors in the country here at I-95. And I'd like to recognize our industry partners here today, Randy Marcus from CSX and Rich Dalton from the VRE. Thanks, Rich, very important to us in this effort. Before we had the VRE service on the tracks directly behind me, this was the Richmond, Fredericksburg, and Potomac Railroad, which started all the way back in 1834. And what none of y'all probably know is that my great-grandparents lived on Caroline Street. My grandmother grew up there and went to Mary Washington. But more importantly, my great-grandfather was the agent in Fredericksburg for the RF&P. So here I am back again. RF&P's slogan, linking north and south, perfectly encapsulates the national importance of this corridor, a nexus connecting goods and people across the vast regions of this great country. While the RF&P has been consigned to history, DRPT and its partners at BPRA, CSX, and USDOT have revitalized its mission of improving regional connectivity, not only here in Virginia, but for the entire East Coast. This is especially important for those of us who have spent any time on I-95, which I'm sure you folks here can attest to. And a key part of this mission is ensuring that our rail network and our road network interact safely. You may have heard me say that safety is #1 priority in transportation. It is my #1 priority in transportation. We've seen story after story about safety issues at rail crossings. Virginia's had enough, and we need to get on with it. The projects we're advancing today will help secure grade crossings in 4 rural areas of the Commonwealth, improving both safety and performance on rail and by road. Both are especially critical as Virginia continues to grow. We expect to see significant growth in the amount of freight moved by rail and truck as the Port of Virginia continues to grow and seize on economic development opportunities. And we likewise expect more commuters on the corridors as the Youngkin administration fosters the creation of thousands of jobs, maybe like the FBI headquarters.
Here, Lucy, guys. Or the GSAs.
Not maybe, like the FBI. It is my hope that these crossing improvements will help accelerate our mission of connecting the disparate regions not only in Virginia, but our nation, truly linking north and south. I'd like to conclude by again thanking everyone at DRPT, Jennifer and your team, USDOT, Carlos, sir, appreciate you being here for all that you do for us, and all of our partners who work to improve the safety and efficiency of our nation's transportation system. Next, I'm pleased to introduce Representative Abigail Spanberger, who I know has spent a good amount of time on this corridor, and she's been very helpful to us on snow. Thank you so much for partnering with me. She was elected to Congress in 2018 and now serves on the Select Committee on Intelligence and Agricultural Committee. She's had a very interesting background. I'll try to fool her about anything because she's smarter than you are. It always makes me uneasy when I'm around intelligence type people. And they're like, you know what I'm thinking? I think she can. She's also a member of the Bipartisan Problem Solvers Caucus and just a small lady, a great public servant. So please join me in welcoming Congresswoman DeBruhl.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Secretary. Thank you for the kind introduction. And welcome everyone to the 7th District as we celebrate here today. And I really want to thank the representatives from DRPT, VGOT, DRE, GW Ride Connect, who are here with us today. Thank you so much to the members of the Spotsylvania Board of Supervisors. Thank you for your work. And I want to thank Secretary Miller and Director DeBruhl for your leadership here in the Commonwealth. It is appreciated by so many of the people that I represent and incredibly important to successes like we see here today. I want to thank Undersecretary Monje for being here with us today, for making the drive. Today it was to Spotsylvania. I hope you will come back to Virginia 7th District many, many times in the future. Via road or rail, you have options in the 7th District. And thank you for the U.S. Department of Transportation's work to support stronger infrastructure and safer communities across the country. This is really an exciting moment for the Commonwealth, and it's particularly exciting for me as a member of Congress, who I have been very vocal about the needs to get the bipartisan infrastructure law done, and working on it from its inception in the halls of Congress, to getting it passed, to getting it signed into law, and now seeing the real results when the state and state agencies and local communities come together to realize what is possible when we choose to make investments in our nation's infrastructure. It took months of negotiations between Democrats and Republicans, but ultimately we talked about how we would arrive at smart, reasonable, responsible, targeted investments in our communities. And from the very early days, it began as a summit in Maryland. As a Virginian, that hurts my heart a little bit. But we went to then Governor Hogan's House, a group of Democrats and Republicans, House members, senators, and governors, to talk about the infrastructure needs of our nation in various different states. We, from the legislative branch, threw out ideas of all the things we thought would be good, and we had the governor say, but there's this regulation and this red tape, and these are challenges. And from those very early days back in 2021, we were able to move forward ultimately to pass the infrastructure law. And so the funding ultimately is about making smart investments in the safety of our fellow Virginians and in our communities. And certainly there are dangers at these crossings. And this award is proof that the bipartisan infrastructure law continues to pay dividends for Virginia's physical infrastructure and for our economy and for the safety of our citizens. And with the completion of this project, it will be an investment in the peace of mind of our neighbors and our communities. So I want to say congratulations to DRPT. Thank you for all of your extraordinary work on behalf of the thousands of Virginians that I serve. I look forward to seeing the improvements in action very, very soon. And thank you for inviting me to be part of this day of celebration. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Secretary Monje from the U.S. Department of Transportation. here in Virginia's 7th District to celebrate the purpose of the infrastructure law and certainly the focus of his extraordinary work results on the ground like this one, where we'll be ensuring not just ease of travel and transportation, but also safety. Secretary?
And I really have a great job because I get to do events like this, and it's not just because I get to travel and when you travel with tech people are nice to you, but because you see the pride in the faces of the folks who have won these awards, and it's not easy to pull this off. We get a lot of events like this, a lot more than we've had really in history, but even in this program, for every dollar that we put out, there was $3 in projects that we weren't able to fund. So you should take great pride in winning this award because it was great. It was a great project, and it will be a great project. It's going to have a huge impact on the people in this community. I want to thank the Virginia Department of Rail and Public Transportation for organizing the event today, and I want to thank Virginia Transportation Secretary Miller for his commitment to the people in Virginia, for DOT's and for DOT's leadership. Congresswoman Spanberger for her leadership in the House. Her advocacy was critical not only for this project but for the bipartisan infrastructure law that enabled it. Here's some very good news for Spotsylvania, Stafford, and Hannibal counties and the people who frequent these highway crossings. As Secretary Buttigieg has said multiple times, most of the good ideas aren't going to come from Washington, but more money should. And so here they are. And on behalf of the Biden-Harris administration, we are beyond thrilled to award $3.2 million to install 4 quad gates at 4 crossings along the 123-mile DC2 RVA corridor that you've heard about. These safety improvements will significantly reduce the risk of accidents for motorists and pedestrians. And they'll allow for capacity growth along this corridor for passengers and freight. All this means safer travel for drivers, for commuters and travelers stuck on the roads, and as well as for Amtrak and VRE services, which are poised to double over the next decade. This is one of 400 grade rail crossing improvements in 32 states that we were announcing this week. These awards total $570 million. These are the first awards in the first ever federal program that's dedicated to eliminating railroad crossings, and it's made possible by President Biden and the infrastructure law that he and members of both parties championed. Today, in addition to the good news coming to Virginia, we're able to support many great projects all across the country. This Monday in Grand Forks, North Dakota, Secretary Buttigieg announced a project to support a rail line there. It had prevented cars and pedestrians from crossing major intersections for more than 2 hours a day. And we're building an underpass so that drivers and people walking and biking can get across safely to the university that's there, the hospital. In Houston, Texas, our rail administrator, Lee Bose, yesterday announced that we're funding a 9,000-foot sealed rail corridor and constructing 4 underpasses there, eliminating crossings where there have been more than 850 incidents of train blockages this year alone. In Broward County, Florida, our deputy administrator for FRA, Jennifer Mitchell, is there today, and we're updating 21 crossings there along their high-speed East Coast Rail corridor, which is also shared with freight and Brightline's intercity passenger service. The county's 3rd in the nation for crossing collisions, and the safety improvements are going to save lives and prevent motorists from driving around entrance gate crossings. You know, the thing about these projects is the numbers are really impressive in terms of the dollars, the speed of traffic and what they're going to be able to do. But if you talk to anybody who's had a victim, and we've had like some people internally said, "Thank you for what you're doing. You'll never believe what happened," and then they go on to tell a story about folks that ended up not coming home because a car got stuck, a truck got stuck on one of these rail crossings. So this is very personal to a lot of folks here. As I mentioned, even for these investments that we're celebrating, we received 4 times the request for the amount of funding that we had. So I want to congratulate you for the very strong application for an extremely competitive and challenging program to get. Although they're not here today, I do want to recognize Senators Warner and Senator Kane. Because of their advocacy, we were able to get this bipartisan infrastructure law across the finish line, and they've really had a tremendous commitment to improving transportation across Virginia. We hear from them a lot. a lot, and they're very effective advocates, along with Congressman Spanberger. So through this law that they championed, just in this state, $4.7 billion has hit the ground, 192 specific projects. This is a partnership at the local, state, and federal level, and it's yielding great benefits. When the shovels start turning, the projects start getting built, it's going to have a tremendous impact. So congratulations again, and thank you.
So I just want to thank everybody for coming today. Thank you, Rich and the VRE team, for hosting us and giving us indoor space. How the day was going to go. Again, appreciate all of our partners. We can take a few minutes and linger around if anybody has any questions. But